Hello, this is Dr. Stanley Lang. I'd like to talk to you today about Christian EFT, which I call CFT, Christian EFT. And I'd like to explain a little bit about what it is, how it is similar to classical EFT, and how it's different. So some people don't know what EFT is, so I'm going to start by explaining briefly what that is. And the letters stand for Emotional Freedom Technique. And this is a system of self-help and also therapeutic intervention that was promoted by Gary Craig in the early 90s and past that into this century. And it has had a lot of different modifications over the years. I became aware of it more than 15 years ago, and I have used this technique with modifications in my medical practice for some time. I use it occasionally. I don't use it on a daily basis because it is a bit more time consuming than I sometimes have in a family practice office. The context for this is that I practice in a holistic or whole person health approach, health of body, mind, and spirit. And over the years, what has become apparent to me is that there's a lot more spiritual activity going on in people's lives than sometimes people are aware of. And also there are spiritual overtones and activity in many different techniques that people just sort of accept without thinking about it very much. So EFT is one of these techniques that have spiritual overtones. Now, why is that? Because EFT touches deeply into your subconscious, and the subconscious touches deeply into your spiritual life. So it's difficult for us to map out exactly what we are like as holistic people, body, mind, and spirit, but we are integrated with these three parts of us. And the way that I like to think about it, and was best explained to me by a retreat master many decades ago, is that the conscious mind is up here, the subconscious mind is down here, much bigger than the conscious mind, and where the two interface, there is some awareness of your subconscious, but the deep subconscious we're not aware of. We can become aware of it through maybe deep counseling sessions, sometimes through dreams. But generally, we're not aware of the deep subconscious, and the deep subconscious is in touch with spiritual realities. Now, the issue is some people's membrane, let's say, between the deep subconscious and the spiritual realities is very thin and very permeable. For some people, it's a lot thicker and they're not too sensitive to spiritual realities. So the issue for me is that the spiritual realities going on in our lives do affect us, whether we know it or not. And so many years ago, after I became a Christian, I started to go on retreats to a monastery in New Mexico. And the abbot there taught what is called the Jesus Prayer. And he taught the Jesus Prayer because he said that it was the safest way to go into the subconscious, into the spiritual world, because going into the spiritual world, we will be deceived if we go on our own. But if we walk hand in hand with Jesus, then we are protected. So after having more than 20 years of practice, so to speak, with the Jesus Prayer, I came across Christian EFT, or I came across EFT, and I wondered whether it would be safe spiritually. I wondered for quite a while, and I watched people talk about it, think about it, saw different demonstrations. Ultimately, I decided it was not safe spiritually because you couldn't know what was going on in the deep subconscious and whether it was intersecting spiritually. Now, a lot of people think that anything spiritual is good, that everything that's in the spiritual part of the universe, so to speak, is just fine and benevolent. A Christian perspective is very different than that. We know that the spiritual world is populated by very good beings, but also very evil beings. We also know that some of these evil beings, these forces, these spirits, will disguise themselves as spirits of light. And we are not equipped to discern the difference when we enter into the spiritual world, but Jesus can. So when we go into the spiritual world in the name of Jesus, we're safe, we're protected. And so what I did way back then, and have continued for many years, is to develop a Christian version of EFT. Now, what I've experienced with my patients over the years when I use this is that two things happen. They have the same kind of healing that is typically found with many practitioners who use EFT, but they also have a powerful encounter with Jesus, which enhances the healing, but also deepens their spiritual life. I consider this a tremendous breakthrough for people. And typically, patients who go through the process of me teaching them Christian EFT or CFT will experience profound breakthroughs in just 2 sessions, usually. The third session is basically a follow-up to kind of guide them on what to do further at home. At that point, they have plenty of insight and they've learned the skills. Now, most people can't come to my office to have this kind of experience. So I've put this program as part of my Christian stress reduction program available for people. So if you're interested in learning more about Christian EFT and actually learning how to do it and how we teach it, then joining the Christian stress reduction program will be very helpful for you. Now, what else is in the Christian stress reduction program? Well, it's a completely holistic or whole person health approach. We deal with physical, emotional, and spiritual strategies for stress reduction. It's the most comprehensive stress reduction program that I know of because it addresses every physical reason that people are stressed, whether it's diet, exercise lack, wrong exercises, chemicals in our diet, poisons in our diet, the right kind of diet, but also emotional issues of all kinds and how to best deal with them. And then spiritual issues that I've just touched on here, but to name 2 real critical ones, learning how to forgive totally and learning how to experience the mercy of God and joy in your life and rejoicing continuously. So that and much more is in the Christian stress reduction program. There are 3 major strategies that I teach for stress reduction that are actual techniques: Christian EFT, Christian Qigong, and also the Jesus Prayer. So there is nothing like it in the world. And so if you are interested in this, I encourage you to click. If you're interested in learning more about this, I encourage you to click on the link below this video or on this video, depending on where you're seeing it. And check out the program more. You can watch the presentation about it and enjoy the benefits of Christian stress reduction through Christian EFT and a lot of other techniques that allow you to heal in body, mind, and spirit, and at the same time deepen your relationship with Jesus. Or if you've never met Jesus, or you kind of would like to know what it's like to know Jesus, experience Jesus for the first time. So I wish you well. God bless and have a great day.